Hello there, and welcome to the third episode of my quick tutorial series for Against the Storm. In this video, I'm going to cover the basics of blueprint drafting, cornerstone drafting, and order drafting. So these things are what makes your game tick, and if you choose the right things here, it will be relatively easy to win, but on the other side, if you choose not too wisely, it'll be very hard to win. So, before we start, a quick pointer towards the description box. There's a playlist link, so if you didn't watch the previous episodes and you are into it, there's the link that you need to watch these in the order that I have released them, and I strongly recommend to because I'm trying to explain the game chronologically. Now, that all out of the way, let's get started with the draft mechanics. I want to start out with cornerstone drafting because the blueprint drafting and the order drafting are mechanics that I will require much more time to explain. Cornerstones are kind of like passive effects that will give you a certain bonus. So, for example, here we get to choose whether we want a clay delivery line or we want flame amulets. Both of these are really good choices. So, reduced hostility from woodcutters is a very powerful trait. 3 clay per minute is also very good, because, you know, out of clay we can make bricks, and out of bricks we can make buildings. But in each and every situation, it will always be dependent on your current situation. For me, for example, here, I have here clay nodes, there clay nodes, and I don't feel like I have the imminent urge to go for more clay income, as I see we are well set on that. The flame amulets thing, on the other hand, mind you that every woodcutter generates 12 hostility, so this amulet in this scenario cuts the hostility in half, so we choose that. Here we go. You always get one cornerstone right from the beginning of the game. I skipped choosing one in the first video because I was busy explaining other things, but here we get now directly a second one. So, deserted caravans would make us produce faster, but less compatible with traders because they will arrive less often. Or we go for protected trade, which will give us lowered hostility whenever we sell goods in the worth of 30 amber. But if we would be feeding or people with complex food, they would be less happy about that. So here we have to decide. This is a very good example whether we want to win via trading or via own production. So sometimes it can be quite hard to discern which decision here is the better one. I personally must say, until you are absolutely fond of all the mechanics of the game and all of this, you should totally go for the decision that feels more appealing to you. Nothing is worse than a strategy that might be good, but you're not willing or wanting to play it. So that's really simply what it is. So in my example here, we're picking deserted caravans. Usually I'm all about trade, but today I feel like showing you how you can be working on out with this one, because producing 33% faster is really cool, because that means we are going to be faster all over the board. Okay, now real quick, let's say hello to the newcomers. Each year, each storm season that you have survived, you will get new people arriving in town. You always get to select between 2 packages. They often come with various races and various things, so choose to your own liking. Here, for example, I'm going to choose the package with extra humans out of a certain reason that I will elaborate in a sec. Okay, so next step, we're going to go over the order system. Before I go there, a last word about cornerstones. The cornerstones are your defining pieces of how you want to strategically win the game. Therefore, choose them wisely. If you don't find anything that gives you the feeling, oh yeah, I will win harder with that, stuff like lowering the hostility or giving you a constant income of something is also worth the pain. What you should never do, though, with the cornerstones is pick something with a feeling like, yeah, whatever, I'm picking something because I got to pick something. If that be the case, decline rather and take the amber. If you don't see any use in the given choices, opt out. It's smarter. Alright. That all out of the way, let's talk orders. So orders are a mechanic that gives you quests. So when we choose one of these, we have to choose whether we want quest A or B. Once I have opened a package, I can't choose the other ones anymore until I have decided for quest A or B. So these always have different rewards. My personal recommendation here is that you go for the rewards. There's always one victory point in it, but when you see the rewards here left and right, so here we would get a Trapper's Camp blueprint or parts. I will opt absolutely into parts. We will need to keep the humans resolve for above 20 for a certain amount of time. That is doable. So next quest. We have here, have 35 pieces of path and get faster movement and some stone versus sell something, get tools, get wildfire essences. You need these to build extra hearths and more villages. Hell yeah, we totally need that. And on this one, we're going to have here again sales versus having a trading post. So here it is the same thing. I want those parts and those tools. Tools are to open chests, resolve quests, also very, very powerful. And parts, I already went over that in the last episode, give you the eligibility to build those collector camps. Also very, very powerful. Okay, so in general, to summarize with these orders, only choose quests that you can actually fulfill. If you don't know how to fulfill a quest, sometimes you actually need buildings to fulfill a quest to produce certain goods that are requested. So you must go for something that you can fulfill. Sometimes you can opt yourself out of that. And when you don't know whether A or B, if you can't fulfill both things, it's always about which reward feels better for you. I cannot even say which rewards are objectively the better choice in each case, because playstyles differ, you always have different cornerstones, you always have different species, you always have different challenges active, so it really boils down to your own decision. So for me, for example, I wanted those tools and I wanted those parts. That's what I opted for, because that allows me to spread my collection of goods here even further down the road, which is really, really good. Okay. Now to the blueprint drafting. Before I end up with the orders, last but not least, you don't need to fulfill all orders in a game to win it. By no means. You just need to get those reputation points from somewhere. Not necessarily only via orders, so don't sweat it. If you do a wrong decision and you realize that you somehow bricked yourself, it doesn't mean that you can't win the map anymore. Really important to note that. Now, blueprint drafting. This is what gives us new building parts. From the get-go, we are very, very, there's not much that we can do. We will need more and more buildings out of the blueprint area to do anything. The blue dots down here mark the points where we receive new blueprints. So whenever we receive the first reputation point, new blueprint. 2 reputation points, new blueprint, and so on and so forth. We start always with 3 blueprints. In this map, I had the luck to have an outside modificator which gives me a wild card, which is really cool because that allows me to show you what you should be asking and looking for when you are drafting. When you are drafting, you see here, these are all the buildings that you can get yourself. Usually you will have only a very limited selection of these. I'll show you that in a hot minute. When you are drafting, the most important things that you're looking for are always buildings that produce you bricks, planks, and fabric. These 3 materials are mandatory for the construction of all the higher quality buildings. See, the brickyard needs 8 planks. The temple needs all the 3 different sophisticated building products. The carpenter needs 2 of these. So a influx of planks, fabric, and brick is very important, because the crude workstation that you got is able to produce all these things, but its efficiency is nightmarish. This hollowed out star is the worst efficiency that you can get, and every single other building that you can draft is endlessly more efficient in producing these wares. You're going to be fast, you're going to be producing more in less time with these buildings, and that is very important because, again, time works against you. The next important thing after that is food production. If you have fertile soil and humans, nothing beats endless food producers like small farms, plantations, herb gardens, these. Every one of these producers has always one directly edible good Here, for example, the farm has vegetables with only 1 star and one good that needs to be refined. Here, grain. Grain can't be eaten by itself, but it can be milled into flour and can be baked into complex food or can be cooked into porridge. Altogether, this is not eatable by itself. Plantations offer berries, eatable by themselves, plant fibers, not food at all. Here, same. Herb garden, roots eatable by themselves, herbs not eatable by themselves. So this is a pattern that you will notice with many buildings. For this scenario, I'm going to go for the plantation. You could also go for a farm. If you go for a farm, you are open for all the grain business. You will need all the buildings that can process grain there as well. With a plantation, I'm more open because I have a steady source of food and can do something else with the plant fibers on the side. So I picked this one. So when it comes down now to the other foraging, drafting options, foragers camp just caught my eye. Yes, you see there, here we have the same logic there. I already chose something for food and broke my own rule to go for things that give us the raw material production. But I see here on the same time that we just happened to draft the exactly right camp for that. So I'm opting in for this as well. So after this now, the last of these drafts, I see the carpenter, producer of planks, lumber mill, producer of planks, and the kiln, producer of bricks. The kiln is in this scenario the least attractive one. Coal is invaluable as a fuel, but at the end of the day, planks and such are currently, for me, more attractive. I'm going to opt in here for the carpenter, although the lumber mill would be equally good. I'm just more interested in something that can produce tools for us. Okay, so generally when drafting, you don't need to draft right from the beginning of the game. I even strongly recommend you not to. Simply because you don't know what you find. The best moment to draft is, in my humble opinion, after you've opened your first dangerous glade or small glade. When you see what stuff you will be working with, is the best moment to choose. You see, I had the ability to make decisions because I saw we have fertile soil here, so plantation. We have large moss broccoli patches here, so large forager camp. These things, I wouldn't have been able to make these decisions before opening up this glade. So this is the point. These draft points also do not go bad. There is no time pressure with none of these. So if you don't know what to draft, just wait it out a little bit and you will see that more often than not, answers will come. So, last words about this topic. When it comes down to the orders, once you have fulfilled the quest, you can turn them in. When you turn them in, you get instantaneously the reputation point, and for every reputation point you get, the Queen's Impatience goes down by 1 point. So fulfilling quests also gives you more survival time, because the Queen's Impatience, as you see here, all 4 minutes you gain 1 point, so 14 times 4, that's the time that you have before you die in minutes. If you would not do anything. Therefore, turn these in to lower the hostility bar. But here's the fun part. The Queen's Impatience lowers the forced hostility. So basically, it's worth waiting as long as possible to turn them in. It goes even as far that sometimes I don't turn in orders during the storm season because I don't want to increase the hostility level with more people arriving. Or, on the other end, people without a home have a lower resolve, and therefore picking up new people during the storm increases the hostility and lowers the average resolve because they have no home. You have prepared some, then it doesn't happen, but you get the idea. So that's what I have to say about the different draft systems of the game. It is one of the topics where I feel like I could talk hours and hours and hours, and it is very, very situational. Personally, even go as far as to say that the drafting systems is where you develop your mastery over the game, because making good decisions around that, what you see, is exactly what paves the way to victory in this part. And the better your decisions here, the easier it'll be to win, especially on the lower difficulties where the hostilities here don't toss too heavy things in your way. Alright, so much about that topic. In the next episode, we're going to go a little bit deeper into the questions how to actually get this into a thriving colony, how to produce things, how to make people happy, how to work it out that this becomes not only a theoretical thing, but a working thing. So, can't wait to get there. Leave me your comments down below if you have anything you want to ask for, if there's any things you want to add on. I'm all ears. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, and like I said in the beginning of the video, there's a playlist link down there leading to the various other episodes, and of course, many thanks to all the supporters of Icon Gaming. I truly deeply appreciate your help. Feel free to join on in via the given links down there, and as usual, a thanks to all of you who watch these videos. Really appreciate having you folks, and see you all next time.